It's not the fact that you fail, it's not the fact that you falter, that you fall, that you make that mistake, that you do the thing you know you absolutely shouldn't do, or you neglect to do the thing you absolutely know that you should do. It's how you handle the consequences and how you handle yourself after the fact that really matters. That's what I'm talking about today. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new and welcome back if you're returning. My name is Danielle and today I want to talk to you about how to get back up after you fall, after you falter, after you fail, after you make that bad mistake, after you make that bad choice or that bad decision, do that thing that you know you shouldn't do or neglect to do the thing that you know you need to do or you should do. How do you handle the aftermath going forward, and how do you turn that negative into a positive? And that's what I want to share with you today. Now, this is a highly emotional and personal topic for me because I'm going to share something with you that's highly personal that I don't talk about, that I've really never talked about. Years and years ago, I did share briefly about this on Facebook after this particular time in my life happened, but since that time I've never really shared it, and I'm going to share that with you today to help illustrate this point. And we're going to talk about and look at a few movie clips that are my favorite clips that really drive this point home for me. I love movies. I love watching movies at home and in the theater. Let me know in the comments below. Are you a movie buff? Do you love movies like I do? I find movies to be so entertaining and oftentimes highly inspirational. Two of my favorite movies are the Karate Kid series of movies and the Rocky series of movies. And that's because largely I love the workout scenes. I know it sounds corny, but I'm a personal trainer, so I always find the exercise scenes to be highly motivational. But I think in both of those movies there are so many takeaways, so many life lessons, so many things to be learned. So we're going to talk about a few of those scenes today in this video. Now, in the aftermath of when you falter, when you fail, when you fall, when you make that mistake, when you make that bad choice, that bad decision, it can be devastating. It can leave you feeling ashamed, guilty, embarrassed, all sorts of negative feelings, and it can really lead you down a really negative, bad emotional and mental path if you don't stop it. We start really filling our heads with all sorts of negative self-talk. I'm a loser, I can never do anything right, I can't keep my commitments, I can't do this or that. In this first clip of Rocky IV, you can see that Drago's been hit, Rocky's gaining momentum and confidence, and his trainer is calling him an idiot, and it's highly negative. And you can kind of see in this clip that Drago gets angry, but not in a motivational way. He's angry at his trainer. He's not supported in a positive way by any means.
That sucks. I did my best.
What did you say?
I said I did my best.
You're nothing. You lost. You're a loser.
And switching gears, if we look at this clip from Karate Kid 2 in the very beginning, where the sensei is yelling at Johnny because he lost the match and he's calling him a loser and losing his temper with him, you can see that really the sensei really never cared about Johnny as a person. He only cared about winning, and that's all that really mattered to him. And everybody, not just Johnny, is realizing who the sensei really is, and it's highly, highly negative. Many studies have shown this, and I think many of us realize that negative reinforcement oftentimes just does not work. And if you're a parent, you probably know this for sure. I know that my kids respond to positive reinforcement way better than me yelling or screaming or threatening punishment. And we as people really respond better to positivity than we do negativity. We need to feel nurtured, we need to feel cared about, we need to feel encouraged and supported. Not belittled, not yelled at, not told that we're worthless or we're losers. That really doesn't help us grow and become everything that we're destined to be as people.
One more round.
In contrast, when we look at this Rocky IV clip, where we see Rocky's trainer really encouraging him and supporting him and telling him the time is now, give it your best, give it your all your power, all your strength, all your love, go for it, do it right now. It gives him the encouragement and motivation to really do what he knows in his heart that he can do.
Mr. Miyagi, it's over. It's over. Forget about it. I'm afraid. Just get out of here.
Cannot, must not. It's okay, lose to opponent. Must not lose to fear.
Yo, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of him, all right?
Oi.
You stay focused.
In looking at this clip from Karate Kid 3, we can really see that Daniel is getting beaten pretty badly, and Mr. Miyagi knows that Daniel is afraid, and he also knows that Daniel's giving up. And Daniel is to a point where he's saying, I've had it, I don't care, I'm done, I just want to go home, I don't want to do it anymore. Have you ever reached that point in your life? You're tired, you've reached rock bottom, you're done. You don't care anymore. You just want to give up. And that's where Daniel is in this clip. But the important thing that Mr. Miyagi says to him is, he tells him, it's fine to lose to your opponent, but you cannot lose to fear. How many times do we not face our mistakes, face our failures, face our bad behaviors, our bad decisions, because we are fearful? In this clip of Karate Kid 3, Daniel finally realizes that he doesn't want to give in to fear. He doesn't want to be afraid. He doesn't want to live in fear. He realizes that he has to get back up and try his best and do this for him so that he can look himself in the mirror and know that he did his best. In the Karate Kid, Daniel knows his why. He knows that he's striving for balance. He knows that he needs to really feel within himself that he has it within himself to be the champion, to really do his best, and he believes in himself because Mr. Miyagi instills that in him through his training. In Rocky 4, we see Rocky's why, and it's the bigger picture. He wants to instill change in the hearts of people. He wants to show people that because he's from a different culture, that because he is a different person, that he's not bad. Rocky's determined to show that he has the strength and the power and the internal fortitude to beat the unbeatable. Everybody believes that Drago is unbeatable, but Rocky knows that's not true. That's his why. That's what's driving him. When you figure out what's driving you, what's really pushing you forward, then you will be able to always get back up. Have you ever been at a point where you feel like you've hit rock bottom?
Honey, forget it. Hey, you were great. I couldn't be prouder. It was just bad luck.
Daniel, you would have won if they hadn't cheated.
In this clip of Karate Kid, we see that he's laid out on the table. Pretty much everybody believes that it's over. They're telling him, you did a good job, it was a good fight, good job, don't worry about it. His opponents had cheated and they'd really injured him, and everybody believed that it was over. But Daniel knew he wanted to find balance. He knew that it wasn't over for him.
No need to fight anymore. You prove a point.
But what point? That I can take a beating? I mean, every time I see those guys, they're gonna know they got the best of me. I'll never have balance that way.
He knew that he had something left inside of him, and that's the most important thing. Knowing that no matter what you do, no matter what you don't do, no matter what happens to you, that you have that internal fortitude, you have your why, and you can really pull out all the stops and get back up. And that's what he does, and in the end, as we know, he wins the match and he becomes the champion. And I'm telling you, if you know what is driving you to be the best version of yourself you can be, physically, emotionally, and mentally, you will always, always be able to get back up. And I want to share this with you. If you've ever been in a place where you felt like you've hit rock bottom, or if you're in that place right now and you just feel like you can't go on, you've reached your wit's end, this is it, you have no more fight left in you, find your why, figure it out, because it will give you the motivation that you need to get back up and keep going and do it more successfully and become the stronger, better version of yourself than you were before. I have a lot of experience in this, unfortunately. You know how when people say bad things happen in threes? Sometimes they do, and for me, my rock bottom was absolutely like this. It was the summer of 2013. That particular summer was when I absolutely 100% hit my rock bottom. And it wasn't until I figured out my why that I was able to become a stronger, better person and get back up and rebuild myself, rebuild my self-esteem, rebuild my self-worth, and become that person that I knew I could be, that I wanted to be. In the beginning of June of 2013, I lost my personal training client Mike in a duathlon. And not only that, but I watched him die. I found him in the road, and I was in the ambulance when he was pronounced dead. He was a dear, dear friend of mine. We had trained together for over 2 years. We were very close. He had lost over 90 pounds, gone off 9 medications, and won the Lifestyle Achievement Award from the VA hospital for all of his health and fitness related accomplishments that he had accomplished in just a year's time. It was remarkable. It was amazing. You don't go through that process with someone without becoming incredibly close. He was my biggest encourager, my biggest supporter. When I left the gym that I was working at to start my own fitness company, he was my biggest supporter. He helped me. He was so great in that regard. So you can imagine that watching him die during an event that I loved, that I did every year, that I was really known for in this duathlon, was traumatizing. It was horrible. Never before had I ever lost a loved one, and especially losing someone in such a graphic way. It was just really devastating. And I haven't really lost a loved one since that time. He's really the only one I've ever been really close to that I've known personally that's died. So that was really devastating for me. After that happened, I really should have gotten some counseling to deal with my emotions and what I was going through, but I didn't, and instead I used exercise to self-medicate, and I was working out literally 3 to 4 times a day, every single day. I was running a ton. I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating because I was depressed. I was really upset, but I was just working my body into this frenzy because at the time I believed that that was the only thing I had control over. I felt like my life was completely falling apart, but I could definitely control my workouts. I could control what I did to my body, and that's what I was hell-bent to do, and that's what I did. And so it really became an unhealthy thing. Even though exercise and health and fitness is positive, for me at the time it really became negative. And because I was so grossly overtraining, I ended up fracturing the 3rd metatarsal of my left foot in July, right before I was supposed to do my half marathon, and that's what I had been training for 3 years. And I remember the day it happened. I was on a 4-mile run, which at the time 4 miles wasn't really long for me because I was up to a point where I was running 12, 13 miles, so it wasn't a big deal. But I remember around the 2-mile mark, my foot really started hurting, and I remember just telling myself, you're tough, you're gonna tough it out, don't think about it, keep going, which I did. By the time I got home, I was in so much pain that I could barely climb my stairs. One of my clients at the time was a nurse. She encouraged me to see a podiatrist. I went, and he said, well, we can do an x-ray, but I'm fairly certain that you fractured your foot. You can't put any weight on it. And I didn't believe him. I was in complete denial. I did not believe him. I said, no, that's not possible. I'm running a half marathon next month. And he looked at me and he's like, oh, no, you're not. And I argued with him. I'm like, yes, I am. I've been training for this for 3 years. Well, long story short, what ended up happening is I ended up in a walking cast, but because I was in so much denial and I would not listen to my doctor, and I was doing Bosu squats in a cast, which I do not recommend, my doctor eventually put me in a wheelchair, and he made me be confined to a wheelchair for 3 months because he said, your foot's not healing, this is it. There's no exercise of any kind. And if you're a person that's exercised a lot, or maybe you've been in training for a fitness event, then you know that when you go from exercising a lot to not exercising at all, you lose all of those really positive, good endorphins that make you feel so good and that really feed you mentally and emotionally when you work out. And I lost all of it in a heartbeat. I became super depressed, super anxious. I had to go on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. It was really, really a bad time. So that was in July, and fast forward to August. In the beginning of August, I lost custody of my boys. They were taken away from me by Child Protective Services. Now, those of you who know me today are probably really surprised to find this out, because you know how close I am to my boys. You know how much I love them, and I do. Looking back on that time, I realized that fitness and my own pursuits had really become my idol and my God, and my priorities were totally out of whack. And at the time, I was living in a duplex, and my neighbor downstairs had said, I'm always home, I'm available to watch your boys whenever you want, that's fine. I had left to go meet their dad, actually, to talk to him about some things with school for the boys, and I left them home alone because they were sleeping, and I left a note saying where I'd gone and that this woman, her name was Jeanette, she was downstairs if they needed something. Little did I know that she would turn on me, call the police, report my boys home alone, and she had documented every time I had left when I thought that she was going to be looking in on my boys and watching them. She wasn't. She was just documenting that I had left them alone, and so she built this big case against me, and long story short, they got taken from me, and that was completely, completely devastating. Sometimes we don't know, we don't realize how valuable things are in our lives until they're gone. And I can tell you, losing my boys during that time was one of the most excruciatingly emotional and mental painful things I've ever gone through. It was horrible. So that was my summer of 2013. June, Mike died. July, I fractured my foot and ended up in a wheelchair. August, I lost my kids. At the end of August, the social worker called me to tell me that she didn't know if I'd ever be able to get custody of my boys again. And that moment, that day, August 26th of 2013, that's when I hit my rock bottom. That's when I almost swallowed 2 bottles full of pills and tried to commit suicide because I thought, I'm not going to live without my kids. I can't do this. But I'll tell you, I believe that God saved me. That's also the day that I realized that I couldn't do this by myself, and I really made a commitment to my faith again, and I really found my way back to my faith, and that is what really, I believe, personally saved me. But it also really showed me and helped me recommit to the real priorities in my life, and it really showed me my why. My why is my kids. My why is my boys. Nothing else is more important to me than my boys. The summer of 2013 was one of the most excruciating time periods in my entire life. It was so devastating for me emotionally, physically, mentally. I mean, I just felt like my heart had been ripped from my chest and it was in a million pieces, scattered all over the floor. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I'm grateful for that now because it showed me my why. It showed me how important my kids were. And it really showed me that I was not taking care of my responsibilities. My priorities were not right. And you know what? Thank God that I apologized to my kids. Thank God that I asked for forgiveness from God. And thank God that everything that I valued was restored to me. I am so grateful and thankful for that to this day. I can't tell you. I mean, those of you that know me now know how much I value my boys. I work with Isaac now. He works with me at work, and I'm training him now, and we're really close. And I'm just really, really grateful that I saw the error of my ways, and I was able to really find that why within myself and really reprioritize my life and having that right in front of me. I can tell you this, when I lost custody of my boys, I had pictures of my boys plastered all over my apartment, everywhere I turned, because I prayed for them, I fought for them, I thought of them. I had one single goal in mind, and that was just to get my kids back. I wanted my kids back. I had no clue that my neighbor would do such a thing to me, that she would turn on me, that someone that I trusted that was supposed to be helping me with my boys would actually betray me in such a way. But in the end, it turned out to be a good thing because I found my why. I found what I really valued. So it's really important, in my opinion, when you falter, when you fail, when you make mistakes, when you make bad decisions or bad choices, find your why. Figure out what drives you. Figure out what's important to you, and you focus on that. You focus and you fight and you keep going, and you determine and decide that you're going to get up, you're going to be better, you're going to be stronger, and you're going to do the thing that you really want to do. You're going to do what you're destined to do, and you're going to become the best version of yourself that you possibly can. So when you feel like Daniel at the end of Karate Kid 3 that we just saw in this clip, where he is so fearful, he's so afraid, it's clear he's yelling that he's afraid, that he's done, he doesn't want to do it anymore. And Mr. Miyagi's telling him, you can lose to your opponent, but you cannot lose to fear. Don't be afraid to face your failures. Don't be afraid to get back up, to be better, to do better, because you can do it. I recently decided to start running again. I haven't really run since I fractured the 3rd metatarsal of my left foot because honestly, I've been afraid all these years. It was such a bad injury, and also it's kind of devastating that I used to be able to run 12 miles with ease, and I can't even make it through a mile right now. And it's, you know, it's sad to me, and it's kind of scary. I'm afraid that I'll fail. I'm afraid that I won't reach a half marathon distance. And you know what? I realized that may not happen because maybe my body won't let me do it, and that's okay. Once you have an injury once, you're more prone to re-injure that same area again. So I have to be really careful. But I recently started running again because I realized that I don't want to live in fear of this. I want to conquer my fear of running to the best of my ability, and I want to do whatever my body will let me do safely, and that's what I am determined to do. So I started running again. I'm really excited about it, and I'll tell you that I am focused on it, and my why really is only because I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to feel bad that I can't run. I want to stop saying in my head that I'm not a runner, that I can't run. I want to conquer this and see what happens. And whatever happens, whatever the outcome is, if I get to a certain point mileage-wise and that's all I can do because it becomes dangerous or my foot starts to bother me, then I'm going to stop because I want to be safe and I want to be healthy, but I don't want to give in to fear. So if fear is the reason that you're not getting back up, that you're not aspiring for more, that you're not looking for a job after you've lost your job, that you're not trying to rebuild your credit, that you're not trying to give up that addiction that you know is controlling you, that you know is negative, that you know is hurting everyone around you, you need to find a way to get back up. You need to figure out your why so that you can do it. Because you know what? You can. I believe in you. I did it. And I know you can do it too. Let me know in the comments below what motivates you, what inspires you to get back up after you've made that mistake, after you've failed, after you've made that bad decision. How do you do it? What motivates you? What is your why? I'd love to hear from you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell so you never miss any videos. And you guys, I'd love it if you'd follow me on Instagram. I do Instagram live streams every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I'd love to see you over there. I will plan to see you in my next video. And remember to make your everyday ordinary life extraordinary.